Nvidia stock is getting some pressure right now as there are reports that China is opening up an antitrust probe on Nvidia for an acquisition the company made in 2019-2020. So we're going to discuss in today's episode what are some of the potential things that can happen with this probe, my overall thoughts, and if I'm worried or not. But before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, as this is going to be the best place you're going to find any semiconductor AI news in YouTube for free. Check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose and check out the pinned comment for a lot of my other free information places. So let's get started.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so we can see Nvidia, as I am recording, is down around 2%. Earlier this morning, it was down nearly 3% on these reports. So let's try to understand what's happening. And for those that are not familiar, I do have a free newsletter daily that sends out a lot of updates on the semiconductor space. One of the updates today was about this kind of Nvidia moments. So the link is down below if you want to subscribe and get those daily semiconductor and AI updates. But pretty much what the chip happened with Nvidia, see, get what I did there. The China State Administration for Market Regulations has opened up an investigation into Nvidia's conduct following its 2020 acquisition of Mellanox Technologies. And the main thing is these regulators are looking into whether Nvidia's handling of the Israeli networking firm technology and relationships violate anti-monopoly conditions set by Beijing. So, quick recap, in 2020-2019, Nvidia made an acquisition of Mellanox, and Mellanox was probably one of the best acquisitions Nvidia has ever made. It's due to their networking solution. Thanks to this networking solution, Nvidia is actually able to superpower its networking strength and be able to come up with a lot of networking solutions that have helped it be the top player in building AI clusters, right? These crazy super AI clusters are possible thanks to the solutions that Mellanox had created. And obviously with the innovation and teamwork of Nvidia, it wasn't solely because of Mellanox, but it's the kind of assets that both companies brought. Now, originally, when this acquisition was made, Chinese officials had made kind of a deal with Nvidia that Nvidia will compile with the key condition that Mellanox share product information with Chinese rivals within 90 days, something Nvidia agreed to as a part of the $7 billion acquisition approval. This is the main meat behind what's happening here. But I do believe there's also a lot of political reasons behind it. I mean, right now we know that there is kind of this huge Chinese-US tension, especially with the United States not allowing Nvidia to send the best chips out there to China, right? You can't send the H100, you can't send the H200, you can't send obviously the Blackwell to China. Nvidia has to create a weaker down version that can pass the export restrictions to be able to send to certain countries over there. So obviously there has to be a way that China maybe retaliates one way or another. We also saw last week that the United States added even more pressure to semiconductor equipment companies to not send certain products to China as well, to slow down their progress in AI chip and just semiconductor development. The main reason is because obviously security reason for the United States and other parts around the world. I personally am an American citizen, and I do believe that the leader of the AI space and AI technology will end up being kind of like the superpower of the world. And I think the United States doing this is the right direction if the United States wants to maintain as the superpower here. So obviously there's a lot of political issues happening in the back end here, and I think this is going to continue. I think this is the risky part of investing in the semiconductor space. It's we don't know what these tensions can come out. We can see even more pressure, maybe more tariffs. So right now, with the current tensions, the semiconductor market is going to be pretty risky. And I do believe we're going to continue to see fluctuation in stock prices. Now, am I worried as a stock investor for Nvidia? Not at all. And in a bit, we'll explain what can happen if China kind of finds Nvidia as an anti-monopoly at the moment. But As a Nvidia investor, the reasons I'm not worried is right now Nvidia is just dominating the AI space. While the Chinese market is very important for Nvidia's revenue, I think we have plenty innovation happening all over the world that the demand for AI chips, especially just here in the United States, is going to continue to be super strong for the foreseeable future. Obviously, in the long term of things, you obviously want Nvidia as a market player in forms of revenue. In the short term right now, I think the market is so supply constrained. I think there's so much demand that I personally wouldn't be worried as an investor. So now I also kind of had the question, hey, Jose, what if China goes even deeper into this? What if they find out that Nvidia is kind of doing monopoly things? What are the scenarios? And to be honest, I'm not a legal expert, so I decided to ask the second best thing to a legal expert, ChatGPT. So here I was like, hey, look, realistically, what can happen if China finds Nvidia's Mellanox acquisition a monopoly? Will Nvidia and Mellanox have to break up? And then I'm curious, if they break up, will this be something that happens all over the world or just China? The first thing that they can do is imposition of additional conditions or remedy. So China can, and in my opinion, another thing that could be happening here is China just wants to get more information about the networking solution so then they can share that with their own companies to develop more AI infrastructure without the need of Nvidia, right? So this is also could be a form of data grabbing so they can speed up their overall AI infrastructure build out. But you can see behavioral remedies where China could require NVIDIA to provide non-discriminatory access to Mellanox technology. We can also see pricing and supply commitments where NVIDIA might be obligated to maintain fair prices, refrain from supply restrictions, or you might see structural modifications that they might insist on the divestiture of certain Mellanox assets, such as a particular technology line or Chinese customer support operations to ensure fair competition. There can also be monetary penalties, which at the end of the day wouldn't be big issues. There could be partial localized spin-off or divestitures within the country, right? China can't tell anybody else what to do, but they can tell what's happening within their borders as well. A complete breakup is very unlikely just because, right, China doesn't rule what happens all over the world. So personally, I believe two things is happening here. First is just China is trying to find a way to retaliate with all these regulations and things that the United States is doing. So they just want to show a message that, hey, look, we're not stepping down. The second thing is obviously with all these regulations, they want to continue to speed up in forms of AI infrastructure build out and AI technology in general, and this could be a way for them to kind of grab more data and have a little bit more reliance within their country instead of external sources. So again, none of this though brings any negative thoughts as a long-term investor. I believe in the short term of things though, this will bring a lot of volatility in the stock and things can go any direction. I mean, I believe within the next few months, we're going to continue to hear regulations, tariffs wars, and things like this coming from all over the world, just as the AI market, the chip market is something that's under everybody's microscope right now. So hope you guys learned a little bit here. Make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.